Hello everyone, this is Philip. I'll give you guys a live update here from the Lava Rock Cafe in Volcano Village, which has opened especially for happy hour tonight, so that all the Volcano residents can celebrate the stop on the earthquakes. We might see if it actually stops, how long it stops for. You know, hopefully it stops for a long, long time. But even if it's a temporary reprieve, everyone up here in Volcano is happy that the earthquakes up here in Volcano have actually stopped. So here we are at the Volcano House. I'm here with Ken Boyer, who's off talking behind me over here, and we got Les Peterson, a tracker, and some other tracker crew up here. We're basically up in Volcano Village, looking at the more recent changes of what's happened here in the last few hours since we last updated you guys. So the story still is that we still have not had a collapse event. There are some changes happening at the summit. We don't see the big number of earthquakes coming in yet. There are still a couple coming in. But we have seen a little bit of change in the tilt, maybe barely discernible. We're not sure what that might mean yet. But we see that the photographs of Fissure 8 have actually shown the lava way, way down in there. So let me show you guys some of the pictures that we have while we wait for Ken to come and join us. Oh, never mind. Here's Ken right here.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
All right, what do you think, Ken? What's going on?
So, well, up here in Volcano, we have some action. We have a new a fire going on that was caused by a bulldozer that caught on fire. And I was just talking to some of the people that came in here to get some food, and they were saying it's pretty intense. Kind of, it's going to be a big job for them to put out this fire and to push it. I think they're trying to push it north from what it sounds like. But it's gone from Ke'aho Ranch where it started, and it's pushed into the national park, into the Mauna Loa Strip Road, and then it's headed into Kapapala land. It might already be in Kapapala land by now, actually. It's grown quite a bit. So that's kind of what's going on up here. We've had a really good get-together tonight. I don't know what you guys already talked about, but we had a lot of fun up here at Lava Rock Cafe. They opened up for us for a happy hour, invite everybody up, and it's been a really nice time. So that's pretty much all the updates I have for today. So.
Yeah, I think it's a nice story about the fire crew getting dinner. Yeah, you want to share that?
Oh yeah, so normally Lava Rock Cafe closes at 3 o'clock on Sundays. And we had asked if maybe we could come up and try to invite some people up to hang out with us. And they decided, yeah, we'll stay open till 6. And they're actually still open, so they're staying open later. And because of that, the firefighters saw that they were open and were able to order food for everybody. And that was really cool. Otherwise, they wouldn't really had anywhere else to get food from locally. So.
Yeah, on a Sunday night.
Yeah, on a Sunday night. So that's really cool. That, you know, it kind of all happened for a reason. So we're up here doing this, and you know, it's kind of a blessing. You know, this is why we were meant to do this, have this get together and hang out, and it brought everybody together and was able to help out the firefighters. You know, they needed the food, and it's really a cool event that we had here, and I think there was a bigger meaning to it. So
yeah, that was awesome. That kind of touched all of us. We're really happy it worked out that way. Clearly, Volcano is still open for business. You guys can see, you know, a great turnout here tonight at the Lava Rock Cafe. Rupert Tripp played earlier. He played live music for about a couple hours, so he's done for the night. But everyone's here, and we're happy to kind of support a community up here in the Volcano area. We'll do one of these in Pahoa. I think next chance we get to do the same thing down there, but we don't have that quite planned yet. But yeah, so that's Ken's report about the fire.
Yep.
And
we'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep you guys posted on what changes with the fire. As of right now, it's pretty big, so we'll have to definitely keep a close eye on it.
Yeah, so for sure. So we also got Les here. Les, you want to say anything today?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom TV.
Yeah, I'm on TV. Philip will have all the scoop for you to share with you today.
Right. All right. So one thing maybe we can talk about is all the various signals. Let me turn my iPad around here and You're taking off, Les?
Yeah, I'm gonna take off.
Okay, so yeah, have a safe drive down. Good to see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Too, yeah.
Putting this all together tonight.
Really nice to meet you.
So yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, thanks for joining and watching. Let me show you guys some information now we have coming in. So probably the most relevant thing you guys want to know are the photographs. So let's start with the photographs here. And all right, got no glare in the restaurant. Should come up here all the time. What we got going on here is that we have a picture of Fisher 8 from above, taken by Scott Wilson of Aloha Skies Aviation, our trusty pilot. And this is one of the few views you actually can see any lava. You kind of look straight down, and when you do that, you can kind of see the two bubbling centers. There's one here and one here bubbling up there and there. And if you kind of squint your eyes, maybe it's not as clear in a live stream as it is in person, a photograph. There's little arches kind of going right here, like kind of curved that direction, marching across this lava pond surface from here to here. And this is the entrance to the channel. And even though there's a big ridge here now, there's probably some pathway of lava can kind of still go underneath here into the tubes down through the channel and right through here. So there's not a whole lot of lava going in there, but there's some lava going in here in this area and working its way through the channel. Maybe not the levels it's been going through recently, but even flow levels of maybe 1/20th the amount is still a huge amount of lava to be going through there. So that's the best straight up and down view we can actually see. You guys watching how this goes? It's different, huh? I'm like talking to myself basically. No, check it out. All right, so yeah, you can, yeah. You gonna be in the video? No, all right. So here's the more oblique view of Fisher 8. So most of the views you guys are getting are probably pictures like this, where from any kind of slight angle you don't see the lava kind of puddling at the bottom. That's how far down it's gotten. You guys can see how much deeper that inner part of Fisher 8 actually is compared to the surface of this lava channel, this crust that's formed. And that's why I kind of believe there's probably a small tube going through there. As the level drops enough, you would imagine that will kind of get pinched off and dropped off as well. So there's probably lava kind of moving through here very slowly, sluggishly through this lava tube area, right through there. Here's a picture looking down at the whole system. Fisher 8's up here, moving all the way down through the system right through here. All tubed over pretty much, all the way down. Here's the area where outflows are starting to back up and pile up out of the channel right through here. The spillover from yesterday or a day and a half ago, it's hard to keep track of days anymore.
Got you.
Got me, oh, hi Mackenzie. Good to see ya. You gonna be in the video?
No thanks.
No thanks? Okay, no one wants to be in the video. All right, so we don't have a picture of Four Corners area. And, bye Sarah, see you guys. That's probably because the flow in that area is probably stalled out or slowed down, so I'm not sure what's happening down in the Four Corners area right now. We'll look at that maybe later on tonight when there's more glow in the photographs that we get in. But we can kind of see that everything looks tubed over all the way down. In fact, the report from USGS this morning of this lava channel through here is that even though it was red, it was actually barely moving. So that maybe it's on the surface and what's underground, we really couldn't see it quite as easily from right there. But the lava is still going through the tubes. Here's a tube section once again, kind of moving through. There's probably still some kind of creeping of the flow on this margin over here, but you can't see a whole lot of fume. It's hard to say exactly what's going on. We don't see any connectivity all the way down until we get right by the ocean entry right here. So lava is still going through the tubes. This area is like a big pancake. It's still draining, you know, with all these different pathways of lava going through it. Mostly draining out over here at the Halanui area, but somewhat still going in the Pohuiki side over there. So one kind of aside, you guys can kind of look at the area right through here, this lobe, this patch of field right here. There's a fire that's burning up a structure. There's that patch of field. There's that lobe, and there's a house on fire, unfortunately, right in there. I'm not sure whose that belongs to, but we know that we've had another casualty today, probably by some kind of brush fire getting across the area through there. So that's unfortunate. We feel for you. Unfortunately, we're still getting casualties even as the activity is changing and waning in this lower part of the flow field. So looking down at Pohuiki, we can see, zooming in, that the boat ramp is still there, the house is still there, the flow boundary up here hasn't changed much in the inland part. It's actually along the coast right in here where it's moving through the water, right? Through that shallow water area right through there is where it's kind of been pushing over. And it's still active. You can see some fume through here, not a whole lot, but enough that's kind of still active. And more activity is actually farther over here at the Halanui area. You guys can see back over here, that's where the main entry actually is, but still some little action here and some action over here in this whole fan that's going to feed in the flow towards the Pohuiki area right there. So just to remind you guys, these are all by Scott Wilson of Alaska Skies Aviation. You guys go check him out. He will be posting more pictures later tonight, so we'll see how those look in the evening when we have more glow coming in. And that's what we got. What I got for the pictures. Let me show you guys some of the other information we got. So let's look at the tilt plot. All right, so here's our tilt plot for the last 2 days. The magnitude 3 summit earthquakes were kind of spiking earlier. We don't have those kind of dying off through here. Here's our flatline area. And right in here at the end, you guys can see a slight increase. And we don't know why that is. If it's going to continue, if it's just like a little step or what, but that kind of gives us some pause to think about what's going on through there. Because basically the summit has stopped collapsing. Could be twofold. One, it could be that it's actually hit the bottom and it can't move anymore down that direction. Or two, lava could be coming in from below and actually pushing back against the collapse. And if that's the case, then the inflation will continue and actually increase. And if that's the case, then we're going to be in for some more interesting times up here in the volcano area. So we're going to keep an eye on that very closely. If lava is going to come up in volcano, in fact, we're going to expect more SO2 emissions, higher SO2 emissions to occur. Possibly more earthquakes as well as lava pushes its way back through that pile. So those are the things we're really looking for there. Deformation of the ground, those kind of things that we've been looking at for the whole time are now of renewed importance in the volcano area. So we'll watch for that, because one possibility is that lava coming into the volcano is actually decreasing the amount, and then maybe that's why it stopped coming out more. But the other one is that whatever was allowing it to move from the summit area to the rift zone, maybe there is some kind of something, maybe you can imagine it's kind of like a flap, although it's probably not exactly a flap. Something that kind of stops the flow from going to the rift zone and kind of backs it into the summit instead. That could be happening as well. That could explain what we're seeing as far as the waning of eruption at the rift zone and the kind of possible change at the summit at the same time. That may be a likely candidate. And if that's the case, then there may be more lava coming out from the summit area at some point. Now, if the signal starts rising quickly, it could be within weeks. If it's doing it very slowly, it could be months to even years away as far as summit action returning up here. Speaking about the rift itself, it's not unheard of for there to be pauses in the eruption that last up to 15 days or even a little more. So that can actually give everyone a little pause. We should all be happy at the break we're getting of the earthquakes, of the lava coming out. We should celebrate that for sure. But we should be wary that this may not actually be the end. It may be the first real sign of the end coming, but it kind of could drag on for a couple weeks still. As far as the pressure building, maybe inflation, that kind of thing, and kind of popping out again of Fissure 8 or possibly somewhere else, including a summit. So we have to wait and see as far as that goes. In general, we can kind of imagine that the cycle of collapses has been about every 48 hours, more or less, every 2 days, 2 to 3 days, somewhere in that range, between 1 and 3 days maybe. So if we want to see, let's say, 2 full cycles of the thing staying stable, then we would like to see maybe about a week of it doing what it's doing now without changing. And then we might say, okay, well, now it really looks like it really has stopped off or slowed down or stopped coming out or what have you. But until that actually occurs, we really have to hold our breath, enjoy the change, enjoy however much time we have. Hopefully it's a long, long time before we have activity renewed at the summit, especially earthquakes. Hopefully it'll be a while before we actually have lava coming out of the fissure. Sorry?
When you're done.
Oh, yeah, no, this is as good a time as any, yeah.
Don't let me interrupt.
Yeah, well, everyone on here knows how much I can talk about the volcano, so you better interrupt me sometime.
This is Ola. The owner of Lava Rock Cafe.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
He hosted us, having us over here, and we really appreciate it. He's been a big help. He's even come out there to Leilani and helped us with some evacuations and stuff. So he's been a huge help and a big supporter in the community. So I appreciate you, Philip, for having Ola.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming up, Philip.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Especially having the Hawaii Trucker family here.
Yeah, the
That's
Hawaii
pretty
Trucker
huge.
fam.
Yeah.
Kind of a volcano hub, or a temporary hub.
Temporary hub and volcano. Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
So mahalo, thank you
Yeah.
guys so much.
Thanks for having it. Yeah, we'd love to do it again and keep bringing business up to you guys. And
Awesome. I'd like to have you guys more often.
Yeah, I think we got to do that more often. Have everybody come out, hang out with us, and we can answer questions anybody might have and that sort of
Maybe we
thing.
can have that elusive animal, that Ikaika Marzo.
Oh, that guy.
oh yeah.
Ikaika. I've heard his name before somewhere.
Yeah, we try to get him up here. He's actually out on a boat right now.
I figured he's a busy man. One of those Hawaiians that you got to admire him.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur and keep on cracking the business.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Ikaika, keep it going.
right on.
Right on. Sorry to interrupt you, Philip. Appreciate it, man.
No, for sure. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
yeah. Thanks for having us. All right, yeah. So thanks again, Lava Rock. Yeah. So there we have it. And I was talking about the volcano. Something about the volcano. I think I was talking about the possibilities of what might happen here. Yeah, as far as the plumbing of lava coming up and through. So I just want to kind of advise everyone to be a little careful. Let's celebrate it for now, but we definitely want to make sure a couple weeks goes by first without anything major happening before we really know it's actually over. So kind of caution you guys on that. Pauses are pretty frequent. At Pu'o'o we have pauses all the time. Pu'o'o was kind of a different beast from this thing, but actually wouldn't be that surprising if we have a pause and more activity coming of some kind or another. Whether it's renewed activity or whether it's actually signs of the thing still dying off further on happening over the next couple weeks. So that's basically what's going on. What else can I show you guys here? Let's see, we can look at the earthquake map, see some calls for that, so let's look at what's going on there. So, turn this around. So here is a map of the earthquakes over the last one day, and we have only 221 compared to 300 and some we usually have. And you guys can see that mostly they're in the volcano area. These are kind of all the ones that we've looked at the last update. Not a whole lot new there. Let me zoom out a little bit. There have been a few earthquakes down offshore the area, downhill from Leilani. That's interesting as well. So anyone down in the Leilani area who's thinking they're feeling earthquakes, you may have. Yeah, that one right there was a 2.5 at almost 4 kilometers depth. That one over there, and that one was at 7:40 this morning. That one was at 5:30 this evening, and that was a 2.6. And that one was a 2.0 at 10:30 this morning. So there's those kind of happen around Leilani area. Not a swarm, too few, too far apart, but interesting to see some adjustment of the ground all the way down through there as well as all the way up here. The ones in the Pahala are interesting as well. This is the area that's the deep conduit of Kilauea, so lava comes up from deep underground through here. So can we kind of show you guys these earthquakes? The most recent one right there was 2.4, but look how deep it was, 33 kilometers, right? That's what we're talking about in the order of more than 20 miles or so. So those really deep ones are the conduit. The magma comes up kind of deep underground, way down over here, then it kind of moves sideways to over this area, then it comes up again right through there. So when you see deep earthquakes over here, it's actually in a conduit. It's hard to say what kind of adjustment it is, whether it's more or less lava. It's some adjustment. We don't know exactly how. But that's what that is. Nothing to be alarmed about there. And that's the earthquake. That's what's going on with the earthquakes over there. As far as what's happening at Pu'o'o is we have steam coming out of Pu'o'o, a whole bunch of steam. Some increased SO2 as well, probably alongside the steam because water does dissolve SO2. I haven't heard more about that yet, but that's something that we're going to keep an eye on so far. But basically what happens is as the ground cools more and more, as the pressure decreases over an area, the water is able to kind of percolate closer by to the area of heat, and then it kind of starts the steam train coming out. And so not just Pu'o'o, but all the other fissures, even Halemaumau, are places we should expect to start steaming at some point as the thing kind of winds down and water makes its way towards those hot areas. Right, so that's basically what's going on. Mauna Loa, there's nothing happening in Mauna Loa. We talked about Pu'o'o, the hurricane. So the hurricane itself probably doesn't affect the eruption much at all, apart from the area of the lava delta. So that's the area that could actually take the big waves and have some subsidence, some collapse. That's what the hurricane would actually affect. There's been some some talk of if the lava keeps going in the ocean entry keeps putting up a big thermal plume, that thermal plume could actually feed the storm. But as the lava is kind of draining and waning, it seems like there's less and less heat coming up. So that seems kind of a reduced threat right there. As far as people who are kind of taking shelter, I don't have any update as far as that goes. I know that there have been some news stories that we've been kind of encouraging as far as that goes to try to make sure that people get the care they need. And I don't have the connections right now to kind of follow through on that. As far as the brush fire up Mauna Loa Road, the brush fire is still going. There's a really strong wind there. That fire was started by a bulldozer that basically malfunctioned and burned up. So that's what started the fire, and the high winds that kind of spread it into the ranch land just west of the park. So that's still ongoing. It may go on through the night. The firefighters that we know are expecting to be out there through the night, and they're still battling it as we speak now. Thanks to Melanie for posting about the plates. I haven't seen that they were a little bit hotter than usual, so that's interesting. You know, the heat still at 178 maybe is not super hot, but actually something to watch. You know, so there we go. And let's see, the storm waves could cause collapse of the delta for sure. And possibly some explosions along with that. Like once you can expose inside of a delta, all that hot lava, the waves can go on it and kind of cause some steam explosions, that kind of thing. That's basically it. Yeah. Thanks, Melanie. Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't trying to criticize or anything, but you know, yeah. So 178. That's definitely interesting. You know, we'll have to check on that. You know, one thing I've noticed, just kind of as a example, I haven't been down there in Leilani today, but if the sun is shining on us plates at the same time as the steam's coming out, it can cause a little bit of increase in temperature. So I'd want to make sure to eliminate that as a possibility for sure. And you know, it may well be increasing in temperature down there. We actually have had reports of people saying that there's more steam coming out, that there's that kind of thing happening there as well. So the cracks are moving for sure. There could be more steam coming out because of that kind of thing. And let me see what else. Sim, eu falo português. Someone asked me if I speak Portuguese, and not as well as I used to, but to some degree. And let's see what else we got going on here. We got questions about Pu'o, the hurricane we addressed, earthquakes. We talked about that. Let me go back down to the bottom here. So once again, the area around Cinderland, I'm not quite sure. I think the overflows around Cinderland have actually kind of stopped. We're not sure about the area in the Four Corners area. I didn't have any photographs from that coming in tonight, but I would imagine that because we haven't had a photograph, that no one saw it actually moving or glowing. So we'll see tonight when the actual nighttime images come in, where we can actually see the glow. Might actually tell us where that flow is, or whether it's cooling or advancing, what's going on around there. So right now that area seems of less concern. Most of the area down of the channel, PGV all the way down, doesn't seem like it's under that much threat anymore right now until we have an increase in the flow. Any flow that's going in right now is going through the tubes underneath there, maybe feeding the area down at Halanui itself more than anything else. So that's still going and still draining, but there's not a whole lot kind of leaving the channel anywhere else. So there is that. Let me see what else. The A'a flow. Okay, so that's an interesting thing maybe you guys would like to know about. I think of the terms A'an, Pahoehoe actually as textural terms, right? So once the lava actually cools, then it can become A'a or Pahoehoe. Now, geologists like to talk about the flows being an A'a flow or Pahoehoe flow, given the appearance and what it's forming as a whole flow at the time, you know, but there actually can be a spectrum, and one flow can start off as Pahoehoe and then change into A'a, for example, you know, or vice versa, a little more rarely, but actually can happen as well. So usually it's a matter of like one way to think of it is how much gas gets entrained within the lava. So if you have a lot of gas mixing in with lava flow, it's more likely to be Pahoehoe and flow more fluidly. If the gas is shooting to the air in a high fountain, then it's likely to go away, and lava that comes down is more sluggish. And you know, it's more sluggish, that makes it kind of move and cool in an A'a texture. So other things that can cause that, like a flow that goes over some kind of cliff or steep area where the channel is open, the gases can bubble out of it. So likewise, a big river of lava going down on the coast is all open. That 7.5 miles has been open the whole time. So even if it comes out at the top as more of a pahoehoe composition with gases mixed into it fairly well, by the bottom of the river, it could actually bubble out enough to form basically an channel that's moving through there. Those are the two textures of lava. So when you have that hot, fresh magma mixed with old lava, like when we had the fissures first opening up, then you can get as well. That's the more rugged, jaggedy kind of lava that we have. So the fact that we had a change of lava within a channel to was not kind of unexpected, because once the flow started dropping down on a mount and slowing and cooling, then we was losing all that gas, and we basically have an flow right there. And in fact, even though we actually saw what looked like pahoehoe moving down that channel, that center channel of the flow, once that flow spread out over the areas, kind of at the flow front, it was spreading out as an flow at the front, right? So you could kind of say, well, you know, what really is it? You know, if you ask Hawaiians would call it pile, right? If it's red and flowing, it's pile. Only when it cools does it actually become pahoehoe or So that's maybe a more useful way to think of it, as kind of a texture when it cools. So chemically, they're identical. Pahoehoe, Pele's tears, Pele's hairs, all that stuff is all just different textures of the same starting composition of stuff, same starting recipe. So that's you know, the interesting thing about pahoehoe and why seeing on a channel is not unexpected. And why when you have, you know, such a surge and a flow spills over the banks, that really gaseous hot flow is actually coming out as pahoehoe flow, is kind of coating the So that's kind of when we see pahoehoes, those kind of situations where it's kind of ponding and almost circulating within a channel, and it's channel ponds, that kind of thing. So there you have it. That's our update we have here from the Lava Rock Cafe. You know, we had a nice crowd out tonight to support the local community, to support the cafe, and bring people out who are in the volcano area to celebrate the lack of earthquakes for what's been essentially almost a day. And you know, the place was open late here. So they're still kind of open, closing off. We'll hope to do this again sometime. We're gonna do one of these in Pahoa. We'll maybe try to alternate or something like that. Have little meet and greet things where we can come out and kind of support local businesses and show everyone that places like Volcano and Pahoa are still totally safe to visit and come enjoy yourself. In fact, just to recap, tomorrow is my daughter's first day of school at the Volcano School of Arts and Sciences here in Volcano, and we're going to send her without hesitation. It's possible that things might change in the future, or might cause us to reassess, but right now there's no reason to believe there's any different threat to that area than any time previously that we've been living here. Even though we've seen all these changes, there's no sign of anything imminent coming up, no signs of explosions happening. It's true that we could be surprised by something different. It's always possible, but given everything that we know and understand, it seems like we have to see some changes first. For example, more magma coming up, more gases coming up, inflation showing, those kind of things. If all that starts happening, then maybe we start considering whether it's safe to be what distance away from there. But for now, we're all good to go for school starting tomorrow. It's all good. In fact, I'm gonna be there next week at the Volcano School with the Q&A session. Kind of, if anyone has anything to kind of address personally, we can do there. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for your support and for joining me today for the live feed. I apologize to Ikaika for starting our feed at the same time as you, brother. We're trying to get this going here for a while, and I finally hit the play button without even checking. So if you guys watch this later on, hope you guys are able to catch both of those feeds, and see Ikaika's crucial reporting from the ocean entry as always. So thanks everybody. See who else we get to sign off here. Looks like Ken is over here talking with Olaf. So we're getting ready to sign off here, guys.
Hey,
you guys want to join me for a Stay Classy Puna? Yeah, so.
Hey, 1, 2,
all right, ready? Stay classy, Puna.
Or if you're in Volcano, keep it shaking.
Keep it shaking.
Oh, keep it shaking, Volcano.
Shake it down low.
Shake it down low.
Let's not shake anymore. We're done shaking.
We're done shaking.
All right, you guys. Mahalo.